Welcome into the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com for Thursday, October 13th. Tom Leach here along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Mutuals and Simulcasting. And the feature on Thursday is a non-winners of one allowance at 6.5 furlongs. So we'll take a look at that. And then the late pick four. So, Jim, who'd you like in the 8th on Thursday?
It is a nice little race. I mean, you can't have stakes races every day, and this is a full field. We've got a lot of full fields on Thursday. And so I did narrow it down, and I want to do a little bit of a different bet here. My wife is a big 10-cent Superfecta fan, so I'm going to put out a little Superfecta here and try to get a key horse in first or second and try to make a little money by filling the last leg with all. I like the 7-horse Breaking Bread for Al Stahl and Sean Bridgemahan. The horse is obviously, she hadn't been to the races. She's been 2 times, once in October here last year, and she ran well in a key race with the top 3 coming back to win, and then she's off until August and comes back at Saratoga and wins at 7-5. So she's not been a secret, but she's a quality road filly and a lot of back class there, but she just hadn't been to the races much. She's only 1 for 2, and she's run 2 good races. So I think she fits well here, assuming that Al Stahl has her ready. So I'm going to try to key her on top in the Superfecta and key her second. I'm going to use the 10 Etiquette for Graham Motion, who's started off won his first 3 out of his first 5 over the weekend at Keeneland. So he seems to be always live. This horse comes out of Laurel, broke her maiden by 10 last time out, and so he took over from Buff Bradley, and obviously something clicked, and she jumped from a 68 buyer to an 80 buyer, and that was on September 17th. Hopefully she's had enough time to recover from that. And then I would use the other 2 horses. I think you can make a separation here. I think those 2 horses on top, and along with the 3-horse Illusion Artist, who's a second-time starter for Brad Cox, who broke her maiden by 7.5 in Indiana, and the 11 Euroboss for Michael Stidham and Merle, has run actually 4 good races and broke her maiden at Arlington on the Polytrack. Don't know how it'll transfer over to the Keeneland Dirt, but I think those 4 horses are tops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 10-cent super, or as many times as you want to do it, key the 7 on top with the 3-10-11, with 3-10-11 with all. It's really inexpensive. And then try to put the 7 second and third. So that's my play here. I like the 7. I like the 10 to get in the money, and if you can key it and catch something in the last leg, you might make a little money.
I am going to the 7 as well. I thought it's tough to win off that kind of layoff, and she was, as you mentioned, very well bet, so she was obviously training well. I like the fact that the runner-up from that race at Saratoga came back to win. So Breaking Bread was the one for me. Etiquette's the next one that I had, like you. I like Jacasa, the one, a little bit, and the main reason was because you get so many horses that are light on experience in here, and that one has a little more experience. Illusion Artist I liked off the big debut win. People may discount the Indiana Grand Race, but you see some good horses come out of there. And then Love You Back, the 4 I also had on my list. But Breaking Bread's the win pick, and I will key that one in exactas with the 10, 1, 3, and 4. Now, the late pick 4 starts in the 6th race on Thursday, and I'm going to use 2 horses in the first leg, not because I'm so convinced that I can narrow it down to 2, but just because I couldn't find a single anywhere, so I had to narrow down somewhere. So Flashy Attitude, the 10, is a first-time starter for Proctor and former Governor Brereton Jones, and that combo often clicks once or twice at the Keeneland meets, and this one's working well, and don't think this is the strongest field in the world. So I'm going to take the 10, first-time starter, Flashy Attitude, along with Tale of the Princess, the 1. The next leg, I want to use 4 horses, Strong Stipulation, Designed for War, West Village, and Luck of the Kitten. Then I'm going to use Breaking Bread, Etiquette, Jocasa, and Illusion Artist in the 8th. And in the 9th, Quality Emperor. I like the big improvement on the turf last time. Big Bad Zen, the 12, and the 7, Bar Trick. How about you?
Well, we start out about the same, and then we go completely off. All right, so in the 6th race, I could not find a single. I'll agree with you there. I didn't find anything I could single, and probably the strongest one was the 7 horse I gave out in the feature race. But in the 6th race, I went 4 deep with Sister Con for Ingrid Mason, dropping out of the Arlington, Washington Lassie, who didn't run very well, but she drops back to $40,000 maiden, so I think she has a shot. Also used Racy Reese off the drop for Brett Calhoun. Tiz Howie's Hope, first-time starter for Paul McGee, the 7, and your horse, Flashy Attitude, the 10, Tom Proctor. So 4 horses there, 2, 6, 7, 10. In the 7th race, I think you got to look at the outside. The also eligibles, if they draw in, are going to be strong. Chiltern Street, the 13 for Wesley Ward with a 95 buyer at Saratoga, and the 14 Hockey School for Brian Lynch. Both those horses, if they get in, have a shot here. If they don't get in, I'm going all outside. I'm using Charm for Wayne Lucas, the 10, Bondurant, the 11 for Ian Wilkes, and my top pick is Grand Candy, the 12 for Giroux and Asmussen, coming off a win at Kentucky Downs. One of the things that bothers me a little bit, I was looking at the racing form. Kentucky Downs horses have not done well at Keeneland. They've only won 2 races over the weekend out of 40-some starters. So that's a very unusual pattern because Kentucky Downs horses usually do very well at Keeneland. In the 3rd leg, I'm going to stick with the 2 horses that we talked about in the feature, Breaking Bread, the 7, Etiquette, the 10. If you can't afford it, I would single Breaking Bread, so use 7, 10. Then I'm going deep in the last race, a maiden special weight that seems to be wide open on the turf, and I'm going to use Alpha Boy, the 1, Chasing the Dream, the 2, Almareb, the 5, Quality Emperor, the 6, Cedarville, the 10, and Big Bad Zen, the 12. And my only theory is those are horses that all have experience, have run in the 60s for buyer figures, plus I'm using Mike Maker's first-time starter. I never toss those. So I will go 2, 6, 7, 10 with 10, 11, 12, in parenthesis 13, 14 if they get in, with 7, 10, with 1, 2, 5, 6, 10, 12, and that's a $72 ticket.
Best of luck with your wagers on the Thursday card. We'll be back with another podcast for Friday's racing here on the In the Money podcast from KeenelandSelect.com.